Welcome back to the Invincible Podcast. My name is Tommy Ryman. I am a 24-year-old business owner from Central Canada. My current business is a digital marketing agency that's made over $55 million for our clients over the last 3.5 years. And you're listening to my podcast. Now you're probably thinking, great, another mid-20s white guy with a podcast. I completely understand. I agree. How much do these guys really have to say? But it could be more than you think. And hopefully today's podcast helps you get out of your own head a little bit and make some progress. So the big lesson that's been coming up in my life over the last 3 years that really just slapped me in the face within the last 2 weeks again is the fact that you've got to start something even if you suck at it and keep going even if you suck at it and even if you don't want to do it. I hired a new sales guy who started this Monday. This sales guy had a ton of experience. He ran his own company that, did sales and that he did sales for, rather. That sounds like a weird way to say it. That did sales. Yeah, every company does sales. But he ran a company that he sold for, and now he's working for me. And having very little knowledge of how to properly train a sales guy, I came into this week very intimidated and maybe a little bit hesitant to start taking those calls with him and to start training him. Now, I did preface with him that I don't have a ton of experience actually training sales teams or sales guys individually, because previously every other sales professional I hired had experience. They had the CV, they had the references, they had the scripts, everything to basically show like, hey, I don't need your training. I'm good to do it on my own. That being the case, I always just let them go and do their own thing, and they always provided subpar results. Now, in this case, we're going to try something a little bit different, and rather than doing the same thing that we did all these other times, or rather than doing the same thing I did all these other times, I can't put it on anyone else but me here, I'm going to try training him myself. Even though I suck at it, even though this is going to be a huge learning experience for me and for my sales guy, and hopefully beneficial down the road, right now it sucks. Right now I'm getting on calls every single day, and rather than selling for my business, I'm teaching someone how to sell for my business so I can get back my time down the road. Now, the sound of that is lovely. Like, yeah, sure, take the month or the 60 days or whatever it is to train this guy so that you can get back 60% of your time. And I believe that investment will definitely be worth it. But with the big goals we have with 99th this year, taking 5-6 hours of my working day every day during office hours really puts a damper on hitting those goals in the manner or in the timelines that we thought we would. I truly believe we can still hit all the goals this year. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all, but it's just going to be a different mission, a different plan, and we're going to have to be a little bit more tactical in doing so. Now, all that to say, I think it's super worth it, and I think doing the things that suck, even when you're at different stages in business, I think doing different things that challenge you and that maybe just in the fact of I don't want to do those, especially early, will give you a different appreciation and help you to understand how things need to be done in the future. So if I'd never done sales for my company, I wouldn't be able to hand over scripts that work. I wouldn't be able to give notes on sales calls that, maybe if you tweak it this way, they're going to be more likely to respond in a positive light. And that's actually what I've been able to do for my sales guy, my new sales guy, Tyler. And it's been really cool to actually be able to give proper, real, workable notes to Tyler and have him take those and implement those in our training calls, which is a pretty cool thing that I never really grasped or thought about before while I was doing sales calls and while I was taking notes on all my calls and breaking down how each one went. But now it's all paying off. So even though it sucked to do that before and it added hours and hours and hours and hours of work for me, it's now becoming a tool that I can use to train my team to save myself hours and hours and hours, and to save them hours and hours and hours of mess ups, of mistakes, of having to relearn because there's nothing that was taken down or nothing that was saved from all of that time. And so doing the things that suck in your business, or I mean, I'm not a freaking life coach. I've just given you lessons from my business here, but okay, we're going to go on a tangent here in a second after I finish this thought. But doing the things that suck can ultimately lead to something that's so powerful for your business and for you. Now, tangent time. What the fuck are people doing? Life coaches? Anyone can be a life coach. There's 2 life coaches in my city that my girlfriend was telling me about. She knows a couple of life coaches, both of which have 0 grounds to be life coaches. In my humble opinion, now I could be, okay, one second. Sidebar to the sidebar. I could be misunderstanding what the life coach classification entails, but unless you've been truly successful in like all facets of life, I don't think that you should be able to even be considered a life coach. I think you should have to have like a 3 million plus net worth. Maybe you have a happy relationship, whether that be just with yourself or with your family or a spouse or whatever it looks like. Some people just want to be single, and I think that's fine. But I think you should be happy with your relationship status. So $3 million net worth, happy with your relationship status. You should have a fit body. So you should be probably under 25% body fat, under 20 maybe. I mean, realistically, probably 15 and under, but we'll say 20 to be generous for men, maybe 25, 30 for women. And like, dog, there's a life coach in our city who drives a bike around because he can't afford a car. I get it. Times are tough. 100% I get it. I'm not bashing this guy for his financial situation. I just don't think you should be able to consider yourself a life coach if you can't make enough money to afford a car. Hate me if you want. Hate me if you want, but if you don't make enough money and you haven't figured out how to set your life up in a way that you can afford a vehicle in a fairly rural area, I don't think you're allowed to call yourself a life coach. A lot of the people are working a 9 to 5 that they hate. They go home to a family they do not like. They're out of shape. They look in the mirror and they see something they are not happy with. And they call themselves a life coach. Cut it out. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I just don't understand how in good conscience you're selling people consulting or coaching or a program, a PDF, a document, anything. How are you doing that? How are you doing that in good conscience and calling yourself a life coach, helping these people when you hate your life? You're coaching these people to be miserable. If you can't even be happy, if you can't even find success for yourself, how do you think you're going to find it for someone else? Sorry, that tangent, that just pissed me off the other day. I heard about a couple of people in the area who are now certified life coaches. I don't know what that means. I don't know who the hell can give you a certification for that. Maybe Tony Robbins seems like something that he would give out certifications for, but whatever the case, that shit fired me up bad. Like, I got trigged from that. Most things don't really get me because I'm like, well, whatever. I don't care. People are retarded. They're going to be what they're going to be. They can act how they want to act. It's, their life. But now you're like hurting other people's lives and hurting the trajectory of other people's lives because you want to call yourself a life coach and charge people because you wanted a remote job that you need to have no skills for. Cut it out. But anyway, do the things you suck at if they're necessary. Don't just avoid them. I avoided sales for so long. I avoided phone sales for probably a year, almost a year and a half before I started cold calling. And that hurt my business more than any other decision that I've made so far. putting off the thing that I knew I sucked at and I didn't want to do stunted my business's growth. And now that I've done the thing that I sucked at, I've gotten so much better at it. Before, I would almost have like a nervous breakdown before dialing the phone to talk to businesses. Today, I had a breakthrough. Well, maybe not a breakthrough. Today, I had a moment where I was calling with my sales guy on the Google Meet. I was cold calling with him to basically go over our script and show that it worked. And I didn't have those same nerves. I was able to dial the phone, talk to the business owners, no problem. Followed up with a couple, talked to some other ones, and we got a meeting set for later this week in under 5 minutes. So if I could spend every 5 minutes and get one phone call or one extra meeting out of it, think about how many meetings and how many more clients I would have and how much further along my business would be if I would have just picked up the phone and started dialing a year sooner. Like, I get the fear side of things. I get that it sucks to suck at something, but at some point you're going to have to put your pride aside, put the ego aside, and just go for it. I saw someone, this is going to be like a big kind of line. So I saw a video today of Higher Up Wellness quoting his friend Zach's quote, or basically sharing his friend Zach's quote. And to paraphrase, because I don't remember the exact wording, but it was, think about how good you would be if you didn't care about how bad you are. Think about how good you would be if you didn't care about how bad you are. How much further along would you be if instead of just saying, "Oh, I suck, I can't do that," did you say, if you said, "Yeah, I suck, so I'm going to do that. This is something I want. I suck at it now, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it enough times to get better at it, and then I'm going to eventually get the thing at the end." For me, one of my goals was I want to be good at sales. And part of that is not being scared when you pick up the phone and dial. Part of that is not being afraid to go walk up to someone and shake their hand, have a conversation with a stranger. And all of those things you have to check on the way to becoming good at sales. Now, I'm not by any means saying that I'm the best salesman in the world. I'm not even saying that I'm a great salesman. Definitely not. But what I am saying is, on the path to your big goal, there's going to be all these little things that you have to check off, and you're going to suck at every single thing. Very likely, you'll suck at every single thing on the way. And then you suck a little bit less. Okay, now you moved here. Okay, now you suck a little bit less. Now you moved here. Okay, now you suck a little bit less, and so on until eventually you meet your goal. But, man, yeah, that's the big one for today. The last thing I've got is, don't be a life coach who sucks at life, please, and thank you. Fuck those guys. Pissed me off. Oh my God, that shit pissed me off so bad. Anyway, that's it for today. God bless.